What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 19th of 2020. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and in today's video, we're going to dive straight in to talking about not only Bitcoin and a lot of the signs that are showcasing that in the next few weeks, we could be seeing a pretty big catalyst move to get above the 13K resistance level, the $13,000 to $14,000 mark that we tested back in June of 2019. And along with that as well, a lot of signs of optimism throughout the altcoin market that are following that optimism for Bitcoin. So let's go ahead and dive straight into it today, guys. Quickly looking across the board here on the market here over the last 24 hours, the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are in a no trend scenario. No serious moves right now. Again, a few plays down the red, some in the green here, but nothing too significant at the moment. I want to go ahead here and dive straight in to take a look at Bitcoin's price chart. Now, there's not too much that's going on here in the sense of price, or at least that's what most people probably pick up from looking at the chart. The one thing that I would say is very important, though, is on the short-term time frame, the thing that I think is most important is that we came down and tested on support exactly like we talked about back on Friday. What we wanted to see here, and we weren't 100% confident it was going to happen, but what we wanted to see here was basically for price to come down like it did on October 12th, or excuse me, October 16th, my apologies. And to basically make support on where it made support back here before the correction, before the major two-day sell-off we had here in September, and also where we had previous resistance here, right? Now again, what's so significant around 11,200? Nothing's really per se significant about that, at least from what we can pick up from the chart, outside of the fact that it was a consistent level of support and resistance. And we've been able to showcase very clearly in the chart, even though we haven't soared to new highs or shown any crazy amount of optimism following through, that we've been able to hold this and that buyers each day are pushing up higher prices. So this is what we want to see on a shorter term time frame. Now, in the interest of just kind of moving along here, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of the other data science models that are really showing here. Dan Tapiero, who's a great guy, he's obviously not only been on Real Vision, but has also been a major figure throughout the financial space that I've been keeping up with alongside Rob Paul and a lot of other people. Really put out a good point here, which is citing a study here in the crypto space for the United States, stated that at the moment right now, we still are in the very early phases here of cryptocurrencies as a market continuing to develop. And I think this is a very fair point and something, again, just to keep in mind as we go through some of these data science models. And bear in mind, this is 7% of Americans, and it's an estimate. I would actually say, not to challenge Dan Tapiero or anyone else who has a different number, I would say that the number is actually smaller. Maybe if you're considering everyone who's traded Bitcoin in the past, or maybe people, for example, who have maybe just kind of toyed around with it to some degree, maybe it might reach to 7%. I would actually justify that it's anywhere from around 2.5 to around 4% of people actually owning Bitcoin or some form of digital assets. It's a very small group of people. If you go around the States, maybe you'll get 10% of people knowing or maybe have heard about Bitcoin before, but they don't really know what it is. Anyways, I digress. I want to go ahead and look at what is most valuable here, and that is the data science models here. So just for those of you who are wondering what it's like to hodl, 97.6% of Bitcoin's history, you're either up on your money or you're break even where you bought your Bitcoin. So outside of these few red highlighted positions here, it's important to realize that you be up on your money, or at least Bitcoin has, at a minimum, been used as a store of value, basically being able to hedge against inflation, or at least be able to get back the original cash that you put into it. Very important. Now, taking a look through some of these other data science models, there's a really interesting trend I want to talk about, and it has to do with these two data science models we're about to look at. So there's the Bitcoin Investor 2-year moving average multiplier. So basically you have the 2-year MA, which is basically taking the last 2 years worth of closes for Bitcoin, and it's averaging it out to a price. So each day, of course, that value is going to be changing because it's pulling the last 2 years. So you can see the moving averages as Bitcoin generally goes higher, the moving averages go higher as well. And then the red line here is a 5x multiple on that market value for that moving average. So you can see it moves synonymously, in this case, or in synchronization with the green line, but at a higher level as it's 5 times multiple. Well, what's really interesting here, ignoring the red line here, as this usually is a sign for when peaks are happening, we're far away from it. The important thing that I want to note here, I think is really interesting, is that with each of these cycles, it's taken a longer period of time in order for us, once we initially get above the 2-year MA after the start correction, the 80% plus retracement, it takes about a couple months each and every time more than it did last time in order to really kick off the cycle. That's what I mean by this. So let's say, for example, back here in December of 2011, right, really going towards the close here in January, so January of 2012, that's when we really broke above this line here. If we come up here towards this midpoint here, we'll see that, oh, lo and behold, it was a full year from where we got to here before we really kicked off the cycle and broke out, not only past the previous all-time highs, but really kicked off the momentum of the cycle. So it's really important to analyze these time frames because, as we've talked about on the channel, Bitcoin goes through expanding cycles. It takes longer to get to its next set of highs from its absolute bottom. So I think it's important as well to kind of analyze the trend here of when did we really kick off momentum, and also when was the point where we broke out above this 2-year MA. And what I found was a really interesting correlation where throughout the previous cycle here, we added about 3 additional months here. So we came up above here in December 2015, roughly speaking, if you want to just kind of keep it simple, January 2016. And lo and behold, when we get up here, we actually bottom out here and really kick off the cycle once we set in the lower support range just below $1,000 and did the 20x in Bitcoin's price going up towards 20K. In this case, it was here from March of 2017 when we originally got up here, and really around December 2015, January 2016. So again, a year, 3 months roughly speaking. And now after that, we take a look here. We got above this level here in May of 2019. If we do a full year here, May of 2020, 1 year. And if you count the months here, go into June, July, August, September, October, in this case November, if we did an additional 3 months, we're right around the corner here of a big potential move. If we follow suit with history where we add an additional 3 months, playing into the expanding cycles. So I think this is very interesting, and the price action's reading it here, guys. We've got this almost kind of V-shaped. I know this was a term everyone was using in the stock market a couple months back. The V-shaped recovery here, where we peaked back here in June, was at the bottom here in March, and now it looks very clearly like we've had an equilibrium here, going back up, and we're setting up, pressing up against that resistance. It's just a matter of waiting for that catalyst moment. Take a look here at the 200-week moving average heat map. So this here is not only taking a look at the 200-week moving average and how price likes to bounce off the 200-week. It's very relevant. 200-week moving averages are very relevant across pretty much any market, stocks, crypto, commodities, you name it. But the important thing here is to look at the color of the dot, which is showcasing the percentage of monthly increase against the 200-week moving average. So it's an interesting data science model. It shows us how fast we're really starting to pick up momentum. And what you see here is when we start to get towards these lighter blue colors, this is when things get really interesting. Now, we're not exactly there yet, to be fair, because you can obviously see that we're still relatively dark here. There's not much volatility in the market. Price is moving relatively slow. But what I want to talk about again is that we have this period of time here where we slowly start to break away from this moving average. And when we get back up to this price range here, once we start to tailor up back here towards 13, 14K, we're going to be signaling that we're in that range, right? So as we've been holding up here for some time, again, bear in mind it takes time to get from the lows, build up that momentum again, get above the all-time highs, and really start to take off. Again, we didn't see these light blue dots until we got back up here to the all-time highs. Important thing to keep in mind. It'll really depend on where the 200-week is at that point and how fast we're moving towards those previous all-time highs and away from that 200-week. But all in all, the chart here is looking good. We're not where we shouldn't be, or exactly where we should be at the moment, or at least in a predictable range, right? Again, keeping our estimations in line with data science models usually can give us pretty, not only conservative, but realistic targets for where Bitcoin can go. Now, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about altcoins, guys, because I know many of you have asked me, you've been waiting patiently for me to just do a full sweep altcoin deep dive, and a lot of you as well have also wanted me to go over some of my plays in the market, so I will certainly do that today. I want to talk about a whole range of cryptos, so bear with me here. We're going to talk a lot about a lot of them. So I wanted to talk here about Uniswap. So UniToken, which has been very big. A lot of people have been watching UniToken here. Taking a look at the daily here, Important thing to note here, no complexity here after a pretty stark correction. Volume is thinned out, and now we're starting to set higher significant lows here. It's a matter now of whether or not we can get price above that $3.60 range and start to set in some higher highs. So I want to see price get up here where we're starting to set higher highs than where we set before. So again, price will come up here, we make that support, and we start to build up that momentum. All in all though, turning off the drawings here, just looking at the weekly chart, this is like one of my favorite patterns here. If you're looking for what would traditionally be known as an IPO reversal, in this case probably initial token offering, an ITO reversal, you basically have price coming down after a stark run up here, starting to flatten out, and what you have is this beautiful weekly pattern where basically the wicks of each candle is starting to get less and less extended to the downside, and almost kind of builds a triangle or a wedge here where we start to coil in price where green candles can start to form. Again, I couldn't have asked for a better chart here on Uni. This looks great here, and I think that we're starting to see the vast majority of people who took the claim on the free Uni that was given out selling it. I've held mine. I haven't sold any of my Uni yet. I think that this is going to start picking up. There's a few people like Tommy World Power, who I really look up to on Twitter, who's been in the crypto space for a long time. He sees these things, these gems that come from time to time, and he's like, look, I'm not selling my Uni tokens. I've been buying more. And quite frankly, I kind of agree with him. I've just been generally holding my Uni tokens, so we're going to see what happens. Ample as well, though of course we have to factor in the market capitalization here. I like how Ample is now getting back above $1 here. And what's nice is that this is a much more substantial trend here in the sense of price, and this is going to start to lead to positive rebases for the Ample overall Ample supply. So not only is your Ample hopefully going up in value, but also as the value goes from further and further away from the dollar to the upside, you're getting more and more Ample tokens. So again, I really like this kind of consistent weekly trend here. It seems like it's not just one of these sporadic short-term rallies. It really looks like we're setting up for the next long-term cycle for the asset, which we don't have the price action here on Uni version 2. But again, very important. You guys can go ahead and look at charts.cointrader Pro. You can type in Ampleforth with colon market cap, and you can actually see how the chart is starting to build up here for the next cycle. Taking a look here, Omise Go, Layer 2 scaling solution in the cryptocurrency space, long-term play in crypto that we've been watching since back in 2017. Here, over the last few months since August, since it's been correcting, building in those lower highs, higher lows, coiling in for the next big move. I can tell you guys, looking at this chart, this is looking very, very optimistic. It's a matter of whether or not we can get some breakout volume here to the upside. I'm still holding my Omise Go for this breakout. We'll see what happens. Matic, another scaling layer 2 solution. I wanted to take a look at how you can really kind of abstract a lot of these charts, guys. A lot of people always want to do TA out every chart, and the problem is sometimes you have these really weird kind of volatile breakouts where the market goes crazy, or for example back in March where things sold up quite dramatically. The way I look at something like the Matic network chart here, which is another layer 2 scaling solution as I mentioned before, is that generally speaking we have generally higher highs and higher lows, almost formulating a channel here where price doesn't really live outside of a few weeks of its price history for the last few years. We really generally are holding in this channel, and it's likely that it's probably going to land on this point of support here. So this is looking really exciting to me when we start to test towards those historical support lines. It looks nice and optimistic to me, and I'm still holding a slight position in Matic. This is one that I've been holding through one of my accounts and stuff, just waiting to see if it'll start to pick up here over the next few weeks. We'll see what happens. I'm interested again. The exposure I have between this and Omise Go is solely due to the fact that I think ETH 2.0 is a far ways away. So a lot of companies are starting to explore, and also projects in this space are exploring layer 2. Wanted to take a look broadly at the altcoin space here. We're still holding on this support level here that we held back here, over here, and also back here on price. This range around the 39 to 40% mark for altcoin dominance, very, very critical. I want to see this hold over the next few days and hopefully see us start to again have a V-shaped recovery here, back up going into November, December, back to the previous relative highs, breaking past that resistance, going to its 44, 45, 46, 47, 48%. That's what I'm really excited about going into quarter 1 of 2021. And if you're just talking about, you're not even talking about DeFi like we took a look at, or kind of layer 2 scaling solutions of Ethereum. If you just wanted to take a look at the major protocols out there that compete with Ethereum, well, folks, this is your day to finally claim some short-term victory here. I know Ethereum has still been stealing the show in a lot of ways, but if you take a look at, for example, Cardano to Ethereum, take a look at this. Back here in April of 2020, we set in another lower low here against Ethereum, but now it looks like very clearly here in September of 2020, months later, we're starting to set in some higher lows against Ethereum, even after a stark downward turn against Ethereum. So what does this tell us here? It starts to tell us that people are paying a higher premium for ADA against Ethereum than they used to. People are, again, starting to price ADA a little bit higher, generally speaking. Let's take a look at Atom or Cosmos. Same exact trend here. Not only did we set in higher relative highs here, as I think we did, we did the same here with Cardano, at least to the previous ones back in January. Right? But also here, we're starting to trend higher here for Cosmos, setting in those higher lows. These are the signs I like to look for here for increased speculation in the market, increased excitement, increased optimism to start taking positions on other crypto assets that aren't Ethereum. And last one, take a look at Tezos here. Not the most optimistic of the bunch here. We still have a position in Tezos. The thing I like here is that we're still holding general support here against in this case, ADA. This was an important one that this is actually the wrong chart, guys. I apologize. Real-time fixing here. I want to go ahead, load up Bittrex. I forgot I was adding a few other ratios. ETH, and then we'll do BTC. There we go. All right, I'll go ahead and press enter. Right, there we go. So that's a comparison, actually. Again, it shows you how far you can take ratios where you're comparing it to different types of protocols. And I think that, again, you can obviously see in this case that XDZ might be positioning itself maybe slightly better than ADA, or at least it's holding on that range where it's cheap compared to ADA historically. But what I like here, taking a look at the Ethereum chart, I do want to apologize again for that, guys. You can see here very clearly that every time we've pulled back here, even though we've had stark corrections, we've been setting in higher lows here, right? Generally speaking. So this is what I like to see here above all. And again, the closer you get to those previous lows, that's generally a sign that you're going to have the bottom in price comparative to whatever asset you're looking at, whether it's dollars or Ethereum or Bitcoin. It doesn't matter, right? So all in all, to be frank, guys, I like these kind of stark corrections. I like when we get close to the previous lows, because to me, that's where there's discount opportunities. That's where there's much more room, much more potential reward to the risk that I'm taking in a position. And above all, it isn't just in one crypto, guys. The overall market is looking really interesting here. And the data science models for Bitcoin are backing up that there's probably going to be an influx of liquidity to the space very, very soon. So this to me gets me very, very excited. And again, I want to emphasize to all you guys today, if you're interested in just kind of keeping up with some of my positions, or if you're interested in just kind of hearing what I'm watching in the market, please follow me over on Twitter. I really recommend it, guys. I put a lot of great free content out there, just like I do here on the YouTube channel. It's Nicholas_Merton. You should see not only the subscription, but you should see about the general follower count here. We've gotten a lot recently ever since I did the tweet out to Elon. Sadly, no response, but we will see if he gets back to me about Tesla buying any Bitcoin. Above all, though, recommend you guys check that out. I wanted to mention as well that I not only have this event coming up with Munia, who is one of my good friends over in the Netherlands. She is hosting a great virtual event. We've got Leah Halpern as well, helping to co-host, and we've got a lot of different people, such as Alex Majinski, big fan of. We've got DeFi Dad, Dickie Lee, as well as Nicholas, myself. I heard Nicholas is a great guy, talks a lot about crypto, and is all in the know on DeFi. So I recommend you join in for this panel. It's going to be a great discussion, great people. And outside of that as well, if you haven't already, sign up for Blockdown. It's a free event that you guys can attend as well. And that basically I'm not only going to be speaking there, but we've also got a lot of other participants, great speakers as well lined up. You can check the speaker section here on the website, but get your free tickets. It's going to be from October 22nd to the 23rd, and they've got a whole range of big speakers such as Charles Hoskinson, Akon, Sergey, a lot of other people here well known in the cryptocurrency space. You probably see a lot of familiar names. Just make sure you come and see this guy here. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Anyways, I rambled on enough today, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are. If you like this video, please consider dropping a like, hitting the subscribe button, and above all, I want to hear you guys comment down below. What are your thoughts on what we talked about today? Do you think that, from what I've talked about today, do you think these are over-optimistic targets? Do you think we could see something in as short as this month to November, in the sense of kicking off some of that momentum, getting above 13 to 14K, and really starting to test back up to those previous all-time highs in Q1 of 2020? Love to hear down below from what your thoughts are. That being said, everyone, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone.